The Nike Vaporfly 3 had some pretty big boots to fill, following in the footsteps of its older brother. I have now clocked over 250 miles in my pair, and I have fully put these shoes through their paces. I mean, just look at them. So if you're someone who is looking at investing in a pair, I'm going to review just how they've held up throughout their lifetime on my feet, and hopefully give you everything you need to know to help you make your decision. Ready? Let's go. Good morning and welcome back to the channel, or afternoon, depending on when you're watching this. If you're new here, my name's Dan. I'm a beginner marathon runner who is currently training to run sub 3:30 at the Manchester Marathon this year. Now, as I said previously, in today's video, I'm going to be doing a full review on the Nike Vaporfly 3. But I just want to say a quick disclaimer that I bought these shoes with my own money, and anything I say within this video are my honest thoughts. No one has told me what to say, and no one is going to see this video before it's live on YouTube, so you can trust that it's honest and real. Right, let's get started. So starting with the Vaporfly specifications, the shoe comes in at £234.95, or for anyone watching in the States, it comes in at $260. Now within this price, you are getting Nike's full-length carbon fiber fly plate within the midsole of the shoe, as well as 40mm worth of Zoom X foam. In the version 3 of the Vaporflys, Nike has redesigned the sole of the shoe to have a much more chiseled geometry, which I personally think suits the shoe so much better, but it is each to their own. The final point to note about the sole of the shoe is it features an 8mm heel toe drop, which is pretty common amongst most carbon plated race shoes. In terms of weight, the shoe comes in at 200 grams in a UK men's size 9, which does make it 18 grams lighter than its competitor shoe, the Vaporfly 3. Now 18 grams might not seem like that much of a difference, but over the course of 13 or even 26 miles, I definitely think you're going to notice it. For me, the first run in a pair of shoes tells me a lot about them and tells me if I'm going to get on with them or not. I got these shoes back in March of 2023 and I pretty much fell in love with them the moment I took them on a run. As a quick backstory, the shoes I was wearing prior to the Vaporflys were my New Balance Elite V2s. And I don't know what it was about my New Balance, but they just killed the mood every single time I put them on to go for a run. So I may have been slightly biased when I switched back to Nike, but the feeling these shoes gave me made running so enjoyable again. As crazy as this might sound, I actually bought the Vaporflys to be an all-rounder shoe, and a shoe that I wore for pretty much all of my training sessions at the time, which, thinking about it, probably wasn't a good financial decision, but it did mean I did a lot of different runs in them, which is going to benefit you in this review. Straight away, the Flyknit webbing felt super breathable and kept my feet pretty cool throughout all of my runs. I'm someone that for some weird reason gets really warm feet when they run, so this was a massive bonus for me. A massive positive for this shoe was the shoelaces. The shoelaces are like a perfect length and have never come undone in any run this shoe has ever been on. The Vaporfly 3 feature Nike's textured laces, which makes them so much more secure from the moment you tie them up. Like, I literally never do a double knot in this shoe. Like, it's always a single knot and it just never comes undone. Now, as gorgeous as these shoes felt to run in, there was a pretty major issue that occurred after just a few runs. Any guesses? I don't quite know why or how this started happening, because I'm not a heel striker and I'm not someone who typically drags their feet when running at slower paces. I really wish I could say I have a defective pair, but this seems to be a pretty common issue across anyone I've seen that has worn Vaporflys. And whilst it doesn't really impact how the shoes feel to run, it just doesn't look that great. However, to end this section on a high, the shoes felt so good on my feet straight out of the box and made every single type of session I did just that little bit easier thanks to the full-length carbon plate. The Vaporflys are more tailored to going fast across a range of different distances compared to the Vaporflys, who are very much tailored to just marathons. And I tell you what, it definitely showed throughout the runs. I genuinely don't think there's a type of run that I haven't done in these shoes. Actually, let me list all the ones I can think of. Easy, tempo, intervals, hills, treadmill, track, long run, park run. I've never used them in a race, which seems kind of stupid as they're actually a race shoe. Now I will say they are definitely tailored towards the faster paced workouts, and that's not really a surprise considering they are a carbon shoe. When you start getting up to your faster paces, the carbon fly plate provides so much energy return because it's being used to its full potential. And because of this increased energy return, it makes it just that little bit easier to sustain these tempo paces for just that little bit longer. There was a point in my life where this was my only good running shoe, and therefore I did use it for quite a few easy runs as well. And the experience wasn't actually all that bad. In the earlier miles of the shoe, they were actually quite refreshing to run in and felt pretty supportive for my ankle and my foot. But as they reached peak mileage, easy miles turned into a big fat no-no. One thing I will say is if you're wearing these shoes for your long runs, your feet aren't going to feel anywhere near as good when you finish compared to when you're running in something like an Invincible or a Zoom Fly. These shoes are tailored towards racing, and because of that, they're going to lack some of the comfort features that your daily mileage shoes are going to have, such as your Invincibles. But on the flip side, if you're doing a race-paced long run, boy oh boy are these shoes going to help you hit those paces consistently and perfectly. Time for the almighty question. Would I recommend them? I genuinely have a lot of positive things to say about this shoe, and it would genuinely be a shoe that I'd recommend checking out. However, there is a caveat. I personally think someone training for a 10k or a half marathon would benefit from this shoe a lot more than someone training for a full marathon. And the reason I say that is people training for these shorter distances are probably going to put less miles onto the shoe, and therefore you're probably only going to need one pair. Whereas marathon runners are probably only going to use this shoe for race day and the odd tempo session here and there. And since trying the Vaporfly 3, I'd be more inclined to try a pair of them instead. But as I've said before, these are my complete honest thoughts, and you don't even have to agree with them. In fact, let me know if you don't agree with them. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments regarding the Vaporfly 3s, and let me know how they've coped with whatever you're training for. But I have got to say, these shoes will forever hold a very special place in my heart. Nike really do know how to make a pretty pair of shoes. The Nike Vaporfly 3s will forever be one of my favourite shoes to run in. And whilst I might not jump at the opportunity to buy another pair anytime soon, I am so glad I bought mine when I did. In fact, I actually think if I hadn't have got my hands on a pair of prototype Vaporflys, then I probably would have opted for a pair of Vaporflys for my race shoes for Manchester. But sadly, we will never know how that would have played out. I haven't heard anything on the grapevine about a version 4 of the Vaporflys, and Nike are still releasing new colorways to this day, so I'm pretty certain they're going to be sticking around for a little while longer. I really do hope that today's video has shone a light on just how versatile the Vaporfly 3s are. If you have any more questions regarding them, please feel free to leave a comment below, and I will try my absolute hardest to give them all an answer. That is sadly all from me today. If you've enjoyed today's video, please consider leaving a like, as it genuinely means so much more to me than you might initially think. The support and engagement my channel is receiving every single week is genuinely mind-blowing, and I just want to say a massive thank you to anyone who has left any sort of engagement on any of my previous videos. Manchester is getting so close now, and if you don't want to miss any of my preparation, go down and hit that subscribe button. It's literally free. I hope you have an absolutely smashing rest of your day, however you choose to spend it, and I'll see you all next Saturday at 6 PM. No bad days. Doodle 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 dum.